What we have here are this is an academy, an example of an academy actually claiming that the Reform Party is tantamount to fascism. Now, the message here is pretty simple, and we need to call it what it is. It's indoctrination. It's a taxpayer funded smear campaign against millions of decent people who simply want their country back. The message to children is also as simple. It says, if you love your flag, if you love your nation, if you love what it stood for and continues to stand for, what it stood for back when my grandfather was fighting in the Korean War under the Durham Light Infantry, symbol of freedom, a symbol of liberty, a symbol of actually the British way of doing things, which was sought all over the world. You love that flag. Well, you're suspect. If you question mass migration, well, you're far right. If you read a paper that doesn't worship Starmer, talk about vegan living, talk about, I don't know, quinoa, well, you're basically Hitler. And teachers have been told, or are telling their children, that the St. George's flag, England's flag, is a provocative symbol used by far-right groups. That's what we've been reduced to. Now, these were year 10s, 14 and 15-year-old, being told to be ashamed of the cross of St. George. Going back to Shakespeare, for Harry and St. George, that has stirred on generations of Englishmen. Englishmen that we are told are reduced to nothing, that don't amount to anything other than far-right politics. If this isn't an act of cultural vandalism and propaganda, then I don't know what is. This is no better than Chairman Mao's Little Red Book. Communism is the way, communism is all there is. And what's truly extreme isn't the policies of reform, it's the left's warped obsession with controlling what young Britons think. And it's not lost on me, my friends, that this comes at a time in which our young people are being given the vote by the Labour Party. Could it be that the Labour-loving teaching class actually want our children to vote a certain way? They tell our children to distrust their parents. They tell our children to distrust their newspapers, their patriotism, all while pretending to fight misinformation. Well, they're doing about as good a job as that as the BBC. This is the same establishment that can't define a woman, God help kids in a classroom, now lecturing teenagers on extremism. It isn't education. It's ideological grooming. That's what it is. That's what it is. So I'm worried about it. And I think actually, ultimately, we are on the hook for all of it. What do we have in this country? What is it that we've spoken about tonight? The Justice Secretary can't keep offenders locked up. The Home Office can't keep criminals out. Schools can't keep politics out of the damn classroom. BMWs for those on personal independence payments. People in BBC Question Time audiences talking about how terrible it is that Reform wants to cut disability payments for those who are suffering from anxiety. Well, I'm suffering anxiety from Rachel Reeves's tax increases. I don't think anyone thinks it would be proportionate for me to claim a BMW off the back of that, do you? You pay for all of this. You pay for the migrants. You pay for the mistakes. You pay for the Marxism. And you're expected to smile while they call you a fascist or criticize you for flying your own flag. Fascist. The truth is simple, much simpler than their spin. The decent, patriotic majority of this country are not far right. We're just right. We're right on it all. right to demand borders, right to defend our culture, right to be proud of the country that our grandparents and ancestors before them built. That's what we're right about. And you, my friends, are wrong. You are treacherous. You are selling our country down the Swanee. We're in Last Chance Saloon. And the only hope, in my view, the only hope is a Reform UK government coming in and giving this nation a good hard kick up the backside. I really, really strongly believe that. If you agree, leave a comment. Because they can't cancel common sense ultimately, you know, they could put me in the rack. A bit like Guy Fawkes. I will not be signing my own signature. Put me in the rack. We can't afford to do this. You know, I think about all of, and I will this week, I will especially reflect on the sacrifice of our ancestors, not even just in war, as important as that is to remember, but those who brought up children who were statistically likely to die in childbirth, those who went down the mines, those who actually before that went through so very much in the name of building up this rich inheritance that we ruin and exploit today and take for granted. I say we, it's not you and I, but we have to do the job of convincing people that they can't do a Caerphilly by-election and actually allow the left to form together a coalition to actually keep reform out of government.